Look what we've got in the hangar. This is the R Coupe. It's the only one in the world, and honestly, have you ever seen such a beautiful car? No. Neither have I, but then strictly speaking, it isn't actually a car. It's a concept, it's a one-off, it's a flight of fancy. Jaguar built it to show the world where they're going. But we start tonight on our track.
In the studio, we've got the new Citroën C4. And when you look inside, you discover that the steering wheel turns, but the middle stays where it is. Look at that. That's absolutely remarkable. What's more, we think this is a really, really good-looking car. And because it's a Citroën, it's going to be good value. This one is called the RD6. It's made almost entirely of aluminium, it's very light, and it's powered, remarkably enough, by a turbocharged V6 diesel engine. But the bit I really like is the inside. Have a look at this. Now have a look at that black leather and all those shiny bits and those red lights down in the footwell. Now clearly a Jaguar designer got completely lashed in a vodka bar and thought, oh, I'll make it look like this then. So, obviously, there'll be a bouncer on the door telling you can't come in because you've got trainers on.
It's a gorgeous-looking thing. I think it's fab. But here's the thing I don't get about Jaguar concept cars. 2 years ago, about then, they showed us the XK180. And there it is. That was to show us what Jaguars of the future will look like. But then, last year, they did the R Coupe to show us what Jaguars of the future will look like. And now they're back again with this to show us what Jaguars of the future will look like.
Now look, Jaguar, you have made your point. Just make the car. Now, though, Porsche and Aston Martin are thinking along similar lines to that. And then there is this. This is the Lamborghini Estacade.
Yeah, now, this isn't actually a real car yet, it's just a model. And Lamborghini say if they do make it, it could have a diesel. I don't think so. Or a hybrid engine. I don't think so. Or maybe the V10 from the new Gallardo. That's more likely, I think. Whatever engine it is, though, it will go here at the front.
And that means there is room for a proper boot at the back. And more importantly, it means there is room in here for 4 people. And it's not one of those supercars with seats in the front and token seats in the back. It really is massive. Have a look at the legroom back there.
Do you know what I love about this most of all? Is they haven't fallen into the same trap that Porsche fell into with the off-roader, the Cayenne. Because that, OK, they've kind of got a supercar 911 nose on the front and then an ordinary car on the back. So you look and you go, wow, it's Kate Moss. And you look down the side, oh, no, it's got John Prescott's arse.
This, from every angle, it just gets better looking. It is magnificent.
It's just staggering.
Please make it.
Anyway.
Now, I'm afraid we've had another complaint from a viewer that we don't feature enough sensible, down-to-earth cars on the show. So, this week, we've got one in the studio. It has excellent luggage capacity, and it does 33 miles to the gallon.
Yep, and here it is. Yeah. It's the Caparo T1. And it's the work of 2 engineers who used to design Formula 1 cars for McLaren. And I just love some of the details, things like this rear light with this trail of LEDs down there.
It really is absolutely fabulous. And look at this. These wing mirrors are mirrors on the wings.
And then there's the engine. It's a 2.4-litre supercharged V8, and it's not cobbled together by gluing 2 old motorbike engines. It's actually bespoke for this car. It's powerful, 480 brake horsepower. And because the whole thing is so light, it weighs, what, less than half a Ford Fiesta.
Yep.
It's fast. 0 to 60, 2.5 seconds. And it'll do 200 miles an hour.
I think what really impresses me, though, is that it's so reasonably priced. This is £190,000. I know, but the thing is, you laugh at that, but a Pagani Zonda is what, £100,000 more?
Yeah, and
bargain.
This really will do 33 miles to the gallon, honestly. Although we did make up the bit about the luggage space, that's all.
OK.
I will concede you have the best radio-controlled car. That is
stunning,
absolutely,
isn't it?
That is incredible.
Stunning.
Now, here's another new Ford. It's called the Vsauce, and look at this shape. Very cutting edge, and then the interior. Wow, and those dials, they're all spangly, clever, up-to-the-minute computer stuff. And there's no mirrors. Look, cameras instead. Ah, yeah. It's a very modern car, no doubt. But look a bit more closely. And look, there's these grills on the flank, and then the shape of this window. Now, you can't fool me. If Ford ever actually make this car for real, this is the new Capri, no doubt about it.
Tell you what, though, you know in the olden days when people actually had Capris, they always had the bonnet up on a Saturday tinkering around with the engine.
Fettling.
Exactly. Well, nowadays, people always fiddle around with computers.
Yeah.
So what this has got, which is amazing, well, if they ever get round to putting a bonnet in it, which they haven't at the moment, it'll have a... port thing. You put your laptop in it and you'll be able to adjust like the rev limiter and the suspension settings and everything.
But it goes further than that. It's very clever because once you've got your laptop plugged in, you can then log on to the internet and you can actually download specifications and settings direct from Ford, and better than that even, you can then exchange data with your mates and their Vsauce.
So if you got one, I could set the rev limit at like 1500 RPM. Have the headlamps flash every time we went above 10.
Not quite what they meant there, really.
Or even better, if you get stuck behind one on the road, what you could do is dial up its computer from your laptop, Bluetooth, mobile phone, speed him up a bit. 150, and then just apply one of the rear brakes.
Yeah, that's just stupid. It's stupid. Let's do the...
Right, on to some really important stuff. This is the first chance you've had to see the new Aston Martin DB9. It's a replacement for the DB7, and no, I don't know what happened to the DB8 either. But what I can tell you is that it's got the same engine as the DB7, V12, 6-litre, 450 brake horsepower. But apart from that, everything is new. It's got a new type of very light, very stiff chassis, and inside, well, you get a lot more space than you did in the old DB7, and they've gone for a kind of Range Rover feel, really. There's lots of wood, lots of leather, but it's very, very modern. Gearboxes, you can either have a proper manual or no gearbox at all by the looks of things. I think it's an automatic. The only thing I would say in there, not quite as many Ford switches as I would have liked. What? Needs an air of quality. It's going on sale early next year, priced at £104,000. Now, that's about £35,000 more than the V8 one we had in the series.
Yep, it's a bit bigger.
Earlier on. It's bigger than the V8, which is coming out in 2005. It's got 2 more seats than that. But, you know, all of these really are mere details compared to the looks of it.
It's not as radical as my Lagonda, is it? But...
Ooh. It is gorgeous, isn't it? You would agree. It's absolutely stunning. I said at the top of the show that really in 1966 we were at our peak for designing cars, but this shows that Aston Martin...
a beacon.
They're still holding the torch for car design.
Fantastic.
Sadly, we can't drive it because it's pre-production. But...
because the British have moved in with the new McLaren.
Yes, it's called the MP4-12C. We've got it here in the studio, and this is the first time, in fact, we've been able to have a proper look at it. Now, it has McLaren's own engine. It's a 3.8-litre twin-turbo V8. It also has very, very sophisticated computer-controlled suspension, and, most interestingly, it was tested here at the Top Gear test track.
Yeah, we really should stress that we had nothing to do with the testing or development of it at all.
No, nothing whatsoever. But the thing that bothers me, Hammond, is I've driven the 458 a lot, as you know, and I love it, and I cannot see how this can be better.
Yes, I know what you mean, but what if it is? And there are a few pointers. For one thing, it's going to be cheaper than the 458. You can't get in.
I can.
It's also going to be more powerful, 592 brake horsepower, which is about 30 or so more. These are good signs.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, as well, I like it in here because they've made the steering wheel the steering wheel. They haven't fallen into that trap of putting buttons all over it to make it feel like Formula One. They don't make you choose on your instrument panel between a speedometer and a sat-nav, like Ferrari do. All that stuff they put here, and your music on a sort of iPad thing in the middle. It's a fantastic place to be.
Yeah, my only problem with this really is I like a supercar to look, a bit crazy, a bit mad, like a Zonda. This, if you ask me, is a bit sort of plain.
You say Zonda, but which Zonda do you mean?
Well, the Pagani Zonda, as opposed to, say, the Kia Zonda or the Ford Zonda.
No, you see, because over the years...
Studio, there it is! Look at that! The important thing to bear in mind is that in that clip we saw, there's no computer-generated trickery going on. It's all for real. So they've actually given... Praise silence now, please, for the most breathtaking car we've ever had here in our studio. It is the new Lamborghini Reventon.
Reventon.
No, it's Reventon.
No, Reventon.
It's Reventon. I can prove it. Look, it's got in there. It's got a V, Reventon.
No, I know it's spelt with a V, but it's pronounced with a B.
Why?
Don't know. They've told us it's B, Reventon.
Anyway, it has a 6.5-litre V12.
B12.
Yeah, whatever. It can do...
Whatever.
Please stop. Stop, that's very annoying. It can do 212 miles
Very annoying.
Leave it! It is an awe-inspiring car.
It is, honestly, I'm with you. It's styled to look like an F-22 Raptor, you know, the new stealth fighter. And it really does. This is what Lamborghini should be doing, making cars where you just go, wow! It's just fantastic.
And it's not just on the outside either, it's clever inside too. We've got some pictures here. The dashboard is a thin liquid film transistor like you get in aircraft. That's on car setting. If we switch it now to aircraft setting, look at that!
I want that in my life.
Yeah, it's just covered in things you want. Round here, the rear lights, LEDs in little arrow shapes, these enormous fans down here behind these grills. And round here, the wheels have got carbon fibre fins on them that act as a giant fan to suck in cold air to cool the brakes. And just a fuel filler cap. Look at that.
Couple of problems. One, they're only making 20, only one's coming to Britain. The other thing is £800,000.
Yeah, that is quite a lot.
But with this, you would get a lot of badge.
Badge? Oh, no!
I think I got away with that. So, now,